Hello. Hi, this is Jorora. Today I want to show you guys this game I've been working on. I guess it's a bit of a devlog. Should probably call it that. I don't know if this is a really stupid idea considering it's just an adventure game. It's just like a cozy story adventure game. And I feel like by doing these, I'm basically just spoiling the whole game. So I will try my best not to spoil anything. I mean, it's not like a crazy story or anything. It's just meant to be like cozy and simple and comfortable, that sort of thing. It's more or less like a simple test game for me, just to like, I want to make something to completion, but not get too complicated and overscope and do all this crazy stuff, which I've been doing a lot, and it leads to me not being able to finish a game. So I just wanted to make something simple that I could finish in a reasonable amount of time, but be like aesthetically interesting. I could put interesting art and interesting music in it and feel justified. While I feel like a game that's like mechanically interesting and aesthetically interesting is way more difficult. Like there's just way more work that has to go into that. So without further ado, I will just show you the game. Uh, it's just the beginning of the game. Um, a lot of it is not finished, but here I'll show you where we're at here. So hopefully you're able to read that. I don't really like reading things just because I feel like I have to do voices. So this is the start of the game. Um, a lot of the trees here are kind of like I know these look like completed trees, but to me they're right now like kind of like guidelines. I don't feel like they fit the aesthetic just yet. And I've kind of reused these trees from other games I've worked on. So um, and then this I made like in like 5 minutes, so I don't really like it. But over time, I think it'll look pretty cool. But as you can see, we have like some of the grass and rocks like done. There's like a bridge. This is what the game should look like. This house right here, like that's kind of like our little beautiful corner, right? Our ideal version of it. But there's also issues with that. The colors, I feel like the colors conflict with the character. It makes the character look a lot like way smaller than it should, um, just because he's kind of drowned out in the colors. They're too similar to him. He's a little. It's not quite a spoiler, but a secret. For the 50 people that might end up watching this, maybe less, there's something interesting about this little mechanic, the swimming. So just keep that, shush. It's not part of the story, but it does something interesting if you go looking out far enough. So yeah, he can, the axolotl can swim. Um, I won't spoil the story, but I think I could talk about like what kind of inspired me to work on this, just in case you're interested, and then you can just play out the story yourself if you want to. Um, I wanted to make something based on like kind of like uh, just I guess like Aztec Mexican sort of like animals and their names, and it's sort of like a game that kind of plays like a children's book that teaches you like a couple things about like I guess you could say like Nahuatl names for animals and stuff like that. It kind of teaches you like that the Aztec language in a bit. I might introduce some like Mexicanisms in there, just for fun, just because I don't see a lot of games like that, and I want to make games like that to a degree, right? Um, so his name's already Axolotl, right? Which is how we would spell it, but obviously we pronounce it differently. But um, so that's kind of the joke, right? Like there's a whole another group of animals that are named similarly to the axolotl with that sort of funky name style. So this is the other map. I won't trigger any events, but yeah, you're supposed to walk up to this house, so I'm gonna leave it alone. This is another one of those completed buildings, so that's kind of why it feels a bit out of place, I guess. Especially these trees, the art style is a bit different, but yeah, this kind of gives you an idea of like what things should eventually look like. Um, but yeah, there's these animals, and they're called the river folk. I didn't want to just call them animals. I was really thinking hard about what animals would call themselves if they were like, I guess if they lived. Oh, whoops. Yeah. So I need to. I need to block out the water. I feel like you should only be able to enter the water if you're swimming, but I still need to do that. But yeah, so I feel like animals probably wouldn't call each other animals. I feel like they would find some other name. You know, if you lived with a bunch of like um, equally sentient beings, like what would you call each other, right? So I feel like river folk is the most inclusive thing I could think of, where you know they don't all just call themselves like animals. You know, it's I feel like that's kind of like a human thing, right? Um, maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but I think it adds a bit of immersion, right? If you're like this axolotl, right, in a role, you know, a little axolotl role playing game. Um, you know what? Maybe I'll introduce you some of the characters here, just because this is really the beginning of the game. It doesn't really spoil much, if at all. It really, you're just saying goodbye to your fellow villagers and going out to explore in a forest. That's really where the story is. It's the exploration. Once you head out into the forest, um, to do your activities. So I guess we can do that really quick, just so you have something to see. But yeah, this is the game I'm working on right now. Again, it's really simple. It's meant to be cozy. I want to make the music a little more. I feel like the music's cute right now, but I really want to get it a bit more cozy or a bit softer, bordering into like Minecraft ambience. Maybe not that strong, just because that fits more of like a 3D game like Minecraft, but somewhere in there, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay, so let's talk to Touchley here, who's a bunny. So yeah, no spoilers. That's right. So the axolotl, he has a little grocery store. If it wasn't very it might not be obvious. It's kind of far away. Yeah. So this is his house, but it's also like a little grocery store, right? It's kind of similar to like if you've ever been to Mexico. There's these things called like abarrotes, which are like kind of like these convenience stores, and a lot of people they just live like it's like a, I guess like kind of like a 7-Eleven, right? Like just like a small convenience store. And people tend to live in those places. They don't usually separate their workplace and their home when they have that kind of convenience store. It's normally someone's home as well. So I don't know. So I'm assuming that's pretty common, you know, in some places of the world. But I thought I'd do something like that with him as well. And yeah, so this is his home, but it's also his little grocery store that he works all day long, and he never gets to explore, travel. So he finally decided to go on a vacation, but he's letting everybody know that he won't be home for a while, so he won't be able to work the shop. And that's kind of what would happen. You know, I feel like you know, in small towns like that in the countryside in Mexico, you have people that when they go out and go on a vacation, like, and they leave their home, well, then their shop is, you know, it's closed. You know, they're not around. So he's kind of like in that dilemma as well here. But he decided he's gonna go ahead and just go on a vacation this time. This is a Doctor Lakamichin, who's a catfish. So, by the way, all these names, there's just like the Aztec or Nahuatl version of these animals. Right, that's what you would call those animals in that language. So this is really, his name's like Doctor Catfish, right? Um, if you think about it that hard. If you're wondering what axolotl means, though, it means like water dog or water monster, depending on who you ask. Oh yeah, and he's missing his tail. I still need to animate that. So that might be a little awkward if when I went swimming and you saw the tail flap around. He will have a tail. It's just I I wanted to like get a little more time to finish that up. And then here's the chief, who's a frog guy. You know, he's cute. I hope you can tell he has like a little goatee of sorts. Sorry if I'm rushing here. Again, I could let you read it, but at the end of the day, I feel like, okay, well, it's probably better if you play it, and then get to do all that in your own time. But I really just wanted to show you the characters here. If you're wondering, he's basically just trying to get Axolotl to go grab his things. I had some other sprites, some other artwork, for this character. I could show you it, actually, just because it probably doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, we're making this an RPG maker. This is what the game was gonna look like, but we felt like it was a bit... I mean, it looks nice, but the perspective's a bit... It's a bit off. And it was a bit too complicated to go ahead and do. But I might as well, you know, I worked, you know, we worked on these sprites. I might as well like show you what, you know, do something with them, at least show you. So I am so bad at this. Okay. Oh, and this was like an old catfish sprite. It was really ugly. I was just rushing, and they looked like terrifying. But this is the old axolotl, and then I'll show you his other one. He'll probably look somewhat like this as well. Oh, can't move. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it looks neat, but, you know, it's... I don't know, it's a bit... Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's just, I don't know, it was a bit... I don't know, the perspective's a bit off, I think. And it would be really complicated to make a whole game look like this. But, I don't know, let me know. Maybe we could go about it this way. Now he looks like a giant monster. Could go back to the other one. Shoo. There was a different map I didn't show you all. I guess it's gone now. But in case you're curious, the bunny's house was going to look like this, actually. Well, not this. Where are you? Like this, yeah. It's a bit hard to tell from here. Maybe I can just pull up an image. Since I guess I'm just revealing everything. We didn't get to color this in, but yeah, this is what the bunny's house would have looked like. Again, yeah, no, it's a lot simpler. You kind of just walk up and then walk to the side. But I guess you could see like vestiges of that in the current one. But going about it this way makes it easier. It's just a lot more. It makes better use of the engine just because you can like paste things. Again, I want to add more to the art. and try to match this as close as possible. But I just feel like going about it this way for every single map does complicate things, especially like the river and stuff like that. It's just a lot. But anyways, yeah. So that's the game that we're working on, and hopefully we finish it in pretty quickly. I didn't, like I said, I wanted to make a game that's quick to make, interesting to me, aesthetically interesting. I won't, uh, like I said, I won't spoil the story. I guess I could tell you like what it's about. So yeah, so if you might have noticed, he's going to this thing called the Salmon Sunrise. So he's walking up this trail, and eventually he's supposed to hit the peak of a valley, and see this sunrise that's supposed to be like especially majestic. There's something interesting about that sunrise. It's kind of like if you ever gone on like a hike in a very specific place, um, and there's a very like a specific view. There's always like that one trail or whatever where there's just these really nice views or whatever that you can get. By going through this, I feel like I'm really bad at explaining this, but it's like go to the Grand Canyon. You go to this really special place and you get a view that you can't find anywhere else, and you have to go there. Eventually, you have to get out of your house and explore and see things like that, and that's kind of the idea here. But along the way, he meets the forest folk, and he's part of the river folk, right? He's part of like the river village, so he meets a lot. He's friends with a lot of river, like a lot of the animals that live by this river, but he hasn't met any of the forest animals. And along the trail, he meets a lot of these forest animals, and a lot of them are much bigger than him. And there's a bit of like majesty to that because they'll look huge. And they have like these interesting tasks for him and things like that, and he helps them in certain ways, but he also learns things from them. So again, it's kind of structured like a children's book. Again, like children's books are super simple and short, so me telling you anything more than what I've just said is basically like gonna ruin it, I guess. So um, again, if you have any thoughts or opinions, let me know. Yeah, that's the story. I'm sorry it took me so long to tell you the story, but really, I just wanted to show you the game and show you what I'm working on. Kind of like what my thoughts are as I'm going through this and finishing it up. This is still very early on. This is like from a week, more like 2 weeks. I mean, because this was like in the first week, but then we ended up deciding not to go with that just because it's too. It was going to take too long to structure it that way. Um, Although I guess it would be more interesting, but again, I feel like the art style, I love it. It's beautiful, but perspective is like really weird, especially like when you're forced to just play like on a grid, like and it's really hard to walk diagonally in this engine. There's a way to do it, but there's some times where it gets kind of iffy. Um, but anyways, yeah. So thank you for watching, and I'll probably show you a lot more once I've gone to the next level, as far as the forests and trees go. I definitely want to show you a better version of these trees. A lot of these are just placeholders so far. All right, well, thank you.